So I'd like to apologise before this video starts. I've been a bit ill recently, so I do look awful. So I look a bit like a Demonata, so please just excuse that and enjoy the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Demonata Month. Today we're going to be looking at Wolf Island, the 8th book in Darren Shan's Demonata saga. So is it as good as Death Shadow? Well, make sure you stay tuned till the end to find out. If you don't know what Demonata Month is, check the link in the description, I've got a full explanation there. With that said, I hope you enjoy and let's get started. So the start of Wolf Island takes place roughly around the same time as the start of Death Shadow. It's taking place with Grubbs in the alternate universe, in the Demonata universe, and he's now with Barnabas and Colonel, and they're just fighting demons as a day-to-day thing. He's used to fighting demons now, he's not scared of them anymore, he destroys them on a day-to-day basis, he's not worried as he used to be, he's not scared of them, so it's pretty nice to see Grubbs actually kicking some demon ass for once, rather than being terrified of him like he has for the past however many books. Now, I like at the start of this book, it isn't very long, because you know Grubbs is at the hospital scene from the last book, so you know he's not going to die until you get to the hospital scene. And because you know this takes place before that, because they all split up, it's only a very brief introduction before that scene. So I'm glad they didn't really try and drag it out and delay it, because if you already know that Grubbs survives until this point, there isn't really much tension, so you're not really worried for his life while he's in this Demonata realm. Whereas when you get to the hospital scene, you've seen that play out, so you get a slight new perspective on it, with some new things added, but it's mostly the same. And then you kind of get to the main plot where they split up with Beck, Colonel, and the rest of them. And they go their separate ways. So after the hospital scene, Mira, Shark, and Grubbs kind of gather their own dirty dozen of soldiers to try and hunt down the lambs. They get the tech guy and a bunch of military soldiers, and they're trying to find out where Prey's gone and why she's got these lambs attacking them. So they kind of hunt Prey down, and then they end up on this island where the lambs operate, and you get to see like inside of the lambs like structure and how they work. So it's really interesting finally seeing how the lambs work from their point of view. You understand like why they're doing what they're doing. You see like they explain why they've done the things they've done. You get to see some of the experiments, and you learn more about how they operate on their side rather than just hearing it from Dervish and third parties. So it's really nice actually seeing the lambs like first person for once, because you keep hearing about them and how they act, and you don't really know if that's true or not. And this book kind of gives you their perspective, and you actually see how the lambs really do work, how they treat the werewolves when they capture them, and what sort of experiments they do. And you do get a proper deep insight into exactly how they work, so there's not really any mysteries left with the lambs by the end of this book, it is all explained. But I do really enjoy that, because you do get built up the lambs for these several books where you don't know much about them. So I think now it's coming towards the end, it's nice to see exactly how they work, how they've operated, and you can kind of piece together why they've been doing what they're doing over the past few books. So this book did actually really surprise me. It's not like the other Demonata books. I feel like I say this about every single Demonata book, but this one is really different. It feels like a whole new genre. It's weird, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like a non-stop action movie once the plot gets going. So the other books, they usually have quite a bit of tension, and then you get into the big fight scenes and like a lot of stuff like that. But this one is like the tension builds and builds and builds, and then the whole book is like a massive action sequence. It feels like a movie pretty much, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually really fun. It's fast-paced, it's non-stop, and it's just action, action, action. And I know I did kind of criticise Demon Apocalypse for doing that, but that was because it felt like two books in one, whereas this feels like one like long movie. And it does really, really work. The action's fast, it's intense. While on this island, I can't say too much about it, but it is really, you feel threatened by the threats that are on the island, like you are worried about the characters' lives. You genuinely have no idea who's going to live or die, and it's like really intense because you feel like Mira, Shark, or Grubbs could die at any point, and that'll be the end of them. You don't think they're going to get out of here alive, but it is really tense and non-stop, and it was just so fun to read. I actually read it in one sitting because I could not put it down, because like it doesn't really take long to get into the main bulk of the plot. You get a brief introduction, learn more about the lambs, and the main plot kicks off, and after it kicks off, it does not stop. It keeps going and going and going right till the end, and it's really exciting, really fast-paced, and really fun to read. You won't be able to put it down. So there were a couple of new characters introduced in this book. You've got the tech guy who's like really, really funny. He's always a pleasure to read about in the book. He's quite humorous. His I wouldn't say relationship with Mira, but his like the way him and Mira like work together and the banter they have between them is really funny and fun to enjoy. And there's also a person who works for lambs. I won't say too much about him, but it was really interesting seeing how he justifies what the lambs does, how he feels about it, and like how the lambs operate and how he describes it. Because usually the lamb stuff, you hear it all third party, but this is actually coming from like the horse's mouth. The guy who works for the lambs is telling you exactly how they work. He's not lying about anything, he's being honest, and he's just getting straight to the point about how the lambs operate, why they do the things they do, and that was really interesting to see his perspective and like how he justified it. He wasn't like a good character or a bad character, like I mean like good or bad, like a hero or a villain. I mean more like he was very morally grey. Like, he understood how people might take what he's doing the wrong way, but he had like this perspective that he's doing the right thing. Now if you want to learn more about that, make sure you do read the book, because it is really fascinating to read about. And it does raise some good questions, like, is he in the right thing? That's not up to you as a reader to decide. Because lambs are very morally grey. They do experiment on these creatures that were once human. But are they still human? Do you think they're still human? That's not up to you, the reader, to decide. Because you might think the lambs are doing the right thing. Or you might read Grubs and think the lambs are doing the wrong thing. And it doesn't really tell you, like, either way if they're doing the right or the wrong thing. It is very morally grey, and that was really fun to read about, and, like, really interesting to think on that. So there is a character in this book called James Farrier, and he is actually the name of one of Darren Shan's fans, and he won a charity auction to get his name put in the book. So one of the soldiers that appears as one of like Shark's mercenaries is actually a Darren Shan fan. It's named after him, and that's not really anything to do with the main plot. As far as a fun fact that you might want to know. Darren Shan does have a lot of trivia and stuff on his website, so if you're interested in reading more stuff like that, you can go find it on his website. And one thing I think is fantastic that this book does is actually the plot development, because it's very action-packed, but towards the end is a big, like, plot development section. And I don't think the end of this book is actually as exciting as some of the other books, which might sound weird, but I think the middle makes up for it, because the middle is very action-packed, and the final section is very, the stories being driven forward, and very high emotional stakes, rather than, like, action-packed sort of thing. So in the other books, you do have quite the action-packed finales, but this one, you have an action-packed middle, and a slower ending is still fun, and it's got action in it, but the main plot towards the end is definitely the character development, the revelations, and some big twists in the story, which are going to keep you hooked and really excited for the next book. So when you see these revelations, you're going to be like, oh my god, like, I can't believe that happened, I need to read the next book now. And that does really grip you, and I do kind of prefer that. Rather than having a big action finale, you get these really important story moments, and that was my favourite part of the series. So this does take place at the same time of Death's Shadow, so you do actually get a lot of plot revelations for Grubs and the Demonata. And there's kind of two halves to the story at this point. You've got the Beck side dealing with the Shadow, and you've got Grub's side with his personal vendetta against Lord Loss and Junie and that sort of thing. And this definitely focuses on the Demonata half rather than the Shadow half. However, I feel the next two books are going to try and bring these two together. So you don't really get much more information on the Shadow in this book. It's definitely focused on Grubs and the Demonata half of the saga. But it's still really enjoyable. Just don't expect the main plot to be moved forward that much. But it definitely does set up some big events. So overall, I really did enjoy Wolf Island. It's violent, it's exciting, it's fast-paced. And you also learn more about the land, which is always fun to learn about. Once the action gets going, it doesn't stop. It's an action-packed thrill ride, and I cannot recommend it enough. I think it's 4 stars. The only reason I wouldn't be able to give it 5 stars is because a lot of the mercenary characters, they are quite bland. You don't really know much about them, and they do just kind of feel like cannon fodder to die as the plot goes along. They don't really have many personalities. I can remember one of the names, and that's only because it was James. And he was the one who won the auction, and I only remember his name because I was reading about the auction thing. The rest of them, I can't remember any of the names. Can't remember what they did really, because there's quite a few of them, and they don't really serve any main purpose, except to kind of be extras in the plot, which was a shame. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Do go check this one out, it's fantastic. As I said, 4 stars, I would highly recommend it. Next time we're going to be looking at Dark Calling, the penultimate book in Darren Shan's Demonata saga. So will it live up to the hype? Because this book did build up a lot of hype for the next book, so I'm really looking forward to it. Until next time, this is JJ Goodman, over and out.